created by the divine for us right here on Mercy. Please stand, and we're going to sing together a song. And as we join together in love and peace, I invite all of you to please turn off your cell phones. It interferes with our sound system. And joy and peace. Surely the presence of God is in this very place. The presence of God within everything we see, within us, within the ones we love, even within the ones we don't. I invite you to take a deep, conscious breath, knowing that you are breathing in that presence. Feel that presence as the beat of your heart, the warmth of your body. Feel that presence as the warmth of love. Let us breathe in love. May we open our minds and hearts even more fully to the presence of God, so that we may see in everything that which is good, pure, and beautiful. Our world is abundant in the presence of God, as are we. Amen. Let us continue together saying the Lord's Prayer as translated directly from the Aramaic. Together. Father, Mother, Earther, and Breath of all, create a space inside of us and fill it with your presence. Let oneness now prevail. Your one desire then flows through ours as energy fills all forms. Give us this day our physical and spiritual nourishment, and untangle the knots of error that bind us as we release others. Do not let appearances make us forgetful of the source, but free us to act appropriately. From age to age, through you, flow the glorious harmonies of life. May these words be fertile statements through which our future grows. Amen, amen, and amen. Good morning, I'm Susan Bowles, the platform assistant today, and we have a wonderful team that has been here more than an hour and a half, to help put on this wonderful event this morning. Our musicians are led by David Lacombe, and singing we have Sue, Marlene, Patty, Mary Lou, and Paula. Yes, there you are. All right, thanks everybody. And then we have Bill and Ryan and Kevin and Tom and Dan and Lloyd. We have Wayne, of course. I really do know that. Thank you very much. And back there on the sound system, we have Melanie. How can I think one thing and something else comes out? All right, I surrender. And with our children today, I know that we're going to have Allison. I was afraid to go for it. And I don't know the person who is scheduled to help you today. Janice. That's awesome. And I have seen her. She's already downstairs. And our usher back there is Sandra. Thank you, Sandra. And Sandy, who is hiding. Thank you very much. We do have a wonderful, wonderful team. And now we are going to sing another song, but we also are going to pass around these duo fun cans, our do unto other. This is not our regular offering. It's the offering we use to help people in the community who have particular needs at this point in time. Thank you. You understand? Do all you can.
Do what you can with what you have in the time.
You may be seated. And now I would like to invite all of the children to please come forward. I know that Elijah is here. Hi. Is it just you and me? Oh, good. I'm so glad we have someone else too. Shall we sit down here? Okay. Elijah, I know you. What is your name?
Simon.
Hi, Simon. I'm so glad that you are here. You know, now that we're sitting down, we're going to invite Javier to put the first slide up. Do you all, Elijah and Simon, turn around and look at the screen. What are those? They are dolphins. I love dolphins. Do you all like dolphins? All of you like dolphins? Okay. Were you really? I've never...
I would like to swim with a dolphin in the pool.
I would too. How about you, Elijah? Yes, I bet almost all of us would love that. And some people swim with the dolphins out at sea. You know, many people relate to dolphins and consider them very, very intelligent and big friends of human beings. There are lots of stories. Did you all know this? Sometimes when a boat turns over out at sea, dolphins come around and they give the people something to hold on to until they get rescued. And sometimes dolphins will push people to shore so that they don't drown. Isn't that a wonderful thing? So dolphins are friends. And you and I can think of unseen friends too, like angels too. And do you all imagine that you could ever help an angel? Ah, good. Elijah's nodding his head. Well, again, let's get the story about a dolphin. I saw something on YouTube recently, and just about a year ago today, there was a dolphin, and there was a diver out there, and he noticed that a dolphin was kind of lying on its side. And so he swam over to it, and the dolphin was all caught in a fishing net. Uh-oh. And so then he cut the net off of the dolphin, which isn't real easy to do, as you can imagine. But then the dolphin was still lying on its side to let the man know that something else was wrong. So that diver swam up real close to the dolphin, and he had a fish hook in his fin, and he couldn't swim. So he cut it out. Again, not the easiest thing to do. So what I want us to all know is that sometimes we think that things are here just to entertain us or to help us. But it's good for us to know that we can help dolphins also. And did you know that you and I could even help angels? How would you and I help angels? Any ideas?
You could get everybody and the angels go to repay you by making people be good to you.
Ah, very wise, yes. So, every time we smile at someone, we can do such very little things, and in this place offer hugs, because most of us really like hugs. So yes, we are here on earth to be the hands and feet and mouth and hearts on earth for our beautiful unseen beings, like God, like angels. Next slide. I forgot that. Look at that picture. Simon, turn around and look at that. Now, so there's the dolphin saying, hi, I love you. And I think that dolphin is also saying, thank you, Elijah and Simon, and all of you for being the presence in your everyday life on earth. And now, let's stand up. And we will have our blessing. Oh, I must confirm, the presence of God shines through us through what?
Our hands, our eyes, our heart, and our mouth.
Sure does. All right. So we are blessing them as they bless us. Together?
We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, we behold the Christ in you, and we love you exactly the way you are.
Thank you all so much. We're ready to go downstairs. Bye. Enjoy. Very briefly, the World Peace Diet, led by Bonnie Scudano, is happening now, still, on Tuesdays from 5 to 5:30.
4 to 5:30.
4 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. From 4 to 5:30. The first Tuesday of each month, next will be February 4th, is an open door Reiki share. Contemplative service every Wednesday, except, can we go back? Every Wednesday at 5:30. And then the Oneness Blessing is on all the Wednesdays except the first Wednesday when we have Olivia Rose's healing prayer service. The results from last Sunday's Community Perspective Dialogue are in the lobby. We will have our next community dialogue right after the service on Sunday, February 16th. End of year donation letters. You can read this. If your address has changed, be sure we know it. You can see Charlene Yates. Charlene, raise your hand. And she will probably be in the office after church. Thank you. I did not introduce the key person for this service today, who is Dan Landis. What a happy Sunday it was when Dan and Jacqueline walked in our doors. They immediately became ushers. Dan is on a fast track to becoming a licensed Unity teacher, and he loves sharing his wisdom with us, and we are so looking forward to it. So he is the speaker today, and then next Saturday, from 1 to 5, he's giving a workshop. Suggested donation, $30. Transform limiting ideas about money. Explore Fillmore and Butterworth's ideas about generous giving. You can get more information from a flyer downstairs and sign up. Aha. Now, I have the opportunity to say a few words about Unity, and in the flow with my performance so far, I do not have in hand what I was going to read to you. Oh, that gets more applause than if I had it. Unity means the same thing as the word oneness. Our goal, which I'm delighted to say this church in particular takes steps, concrete steps toward, is creating a world that works for all. Do you like that?
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much for being here today. And now we're going to read together Unity's statement of purpose. Together. I am the conscience of Unity Christ Church, a unified board and congregation, nurturing spiritual growth, inspiring creativity, sharing time, talents, treasures, and expanding awareness of divine oneness. And now, we are going to sing our third song, God's Love is Deep Within Me. beautiful. At this time, I would like to welcome all of you to Unity this morning. I hope that all of you feel as you walk in the door that you're walking into a warm, welcoming heart. But we always recognize people who are visiting with us for the first time, or who perhaps are snowbirds and haven't been here for a long time. If you're comfortable doing so, we'd love for you to stand up and tell us your name and where you're from, even if you're local. Yes. Hi, Julie. Welcome. Yes.
Andy Pepperny, I'm from Rolls Inlet.
Matt Collins from Rose Inlet.
All right.
Yes.
Chuck from Myrtle Beach, originally Baltimore.
Good morning, I'm Carolyn Brady from the Unity Church of Teaneck, New Jersey.
And beside you?
Good morning, I'm Adele Chestnut. I'm friends with Jacqueline and Dan, visiting this week.
Yes.
Finale, my husband Frank, and we're from Millsboro, Delaware.
It's wonderful to have you all here because you bring your light and we love it. It makes us brighter. I'm going to read now from the Daily Word. The word for today is one of my favorites. It is grace. And we have an affirmation. I accept grace with a grateful heart. Let's say that together.
I accept grace with a grateful heart.
Grace is woven into the very fabric of my being. It is the goodness of God at work in my life. I accept grace as the redeeming, uplifting, and transforming power of God, working in and through me now. Grace is an expression of God's love, and I receive it every day with a grateful heart. I experience grace as I nudge to pay attention as a second chance, as unexpected good, or a better than expected outcome. When I allow room for God's grace, good blossoms in my consciousness. Forgiveness, generosity, and love come naturally, and I am blessed. Life is easier when I am open to God's grace. Following Spirit's lead, I no longer paddle against the current, but flow with the stream of divine life. From Philippians 4:23, the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ be with your spirit. Let's take another breath. And let us repeat the affirmation again. Together.
I accept grace with a grateful heart.
And breathe that statement in. In a moment, we are going to sing our meditation song, and Dan Landis, our speaker, will also be leading us in meditation. That will be followed by his talk, Holy Money.
God will comfort you.
Take a breath and hold on tight, 'cause God will comfort you. Yeah, God will comfort you. 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 And when it looks like your dreams have died, and no one knows how you feel inside, come to the light where you can hide, and God will comfort you. Yeah, God will comfort you. God will comfort you, baby. God will comfort you. God will comfort you. God will comfort you. When it looks like your dreams have died, and no one knows how you feel inside, come to the light where you can hide, and God will comfort you. Yeah, God will comfort you. God will comfort you. God will comfort you. God will comfort you. God will comfort you.
I invite you to take a deep breath. And on the in-breath, allow yourself to become quiet. As the scripture says, be still and know that I am God. And on the out-breath, just say to yourself, relax and let go. Let go of the thoughts. Let go of the worries, the fears. And just be. And as you breathe in, I invite you to say to yourself the word Emmanuel. It is the word that says to the universe that God is present here. Emmanuel. It is true. God is present here in you. And as you continue to breathe in, with your spiritual eye, if you would look up to the spiritual sun, the symbol of the divine. And let there be light. The scripture says when you make your eyes single, your body fills with light. And as you look into the divine, we know that it's all good. And as it flows down through your mind and into your heart, it's important to think it and see it, but most important, to feel it. And as you feel that, say to yourself, I am good. That is true. And as we continue to look to the spiritual Son, to the divine, we know that it is all truth. And as that flows through into your heart, I am truth. As we continue to feel the flow, we know divine substance is the basis of all in the universe. I am divine substance. And I invite you with your dominant hand to take your thumb and your forefinger and press and release. And continue to feel the flow from the Creator of the universe into your heart. We know that it is unconditional love. I am love. We know that the divine is peace that passes all understanding. I am peace. And it is the joy beyond words. I am joy. And again, I invite you to press your thumb and forefinger. And again, as we look into the divine, we know that the divine is divine health. And as it flows through our hearts, I am divine health. And as the divine wisdom fills every cell of your being, I am divine wisdom. And lastly, as we look into the divine, we know that it's filled with opulent wealth, prosperity beyond what we can even imagine. Just look at the sand on the beach, or the snowflakes in the snow. I am divine wealth. And again, press the thumb and forefinger and release. And I'll just take a moment as you feel the truth of who and what you are. The truth of who and what everyone in this room, and the truth of every 7.2 billion person on this earth. And it is so. For those of you who chose to follow through, what we did today was we physically anchored the consciousness. So that and what you want to do over the next couple days, 3 days, is practice it. And the way you practice is close your eyes, take a deep breath, turn your spiritual eye up, and fire off the trigger. And it's a way to bring that consciousness into the physical and allows you to be aware of it at all times. Over the next 2 or 3 days, if you want to practice it 3-4 times a day. You cannot wear it out. The more you do it, the more you get to flow coming through. And whenever you feel upset in this during the week, try it out and see how it works. It's pretty amazing. I got to tell you, that'll wake us all up. I had a chuckle to myself this morning when I'm standing up here. When Jacqueline and I arrived here, April, May of last year, what's happening here this morning for me, was not on the radar at all. So this is an experience that's been an amazing journey. And even though Reverend Margaret's not here today, I want to publicly thank her. She's been an incredible mentor for me and guiding me along the way. And David Hiller is the main reason why I'm here. After I told Jacqueline about this idea, he said, "You got to do this, guy." I'm like, "I don't think so." And again, and thank you to Susan. She's been a light for Jacqueline and I from the day we got here. So thank you so much. Am I hitting the button over here and not knowing? Sorry about that. Thank you, Nadia. When I had the title came up of Holy Money, it pushed a lot of envelopes for a lot of reasons. But money is something that I've been around my whole life. I was the kid at 12 years old that, sold Christmas card boxes and magazine subscriptions and mowed lawns and everything. And by the time I was 13 or 14, I bought my first stock mutual fund. And I thought that was normal. I didn't realize till later that it wasn't too normal. But I had a grandfather who was a Mennonite farmer in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and I would go to him and I would say, "Grandpa Landis, how do you know when to sell your corn?" And he'd say, "Well, prices go up, you sell it. When prices go down, you hold it, store it." I said, "Well, how do you know?" So he taught me the basis of some technical analysis. And there I was at 14 years old, at the end of every week, figuring out a moving average so I knew when to buy my stocks and when to sell them. And I loved math, so it was very natural for me. And when I was 16, I had made enough money to buy an Austin Healey red convertible Sprite. And the girls loved to ride in my car. It was a great thing at 16. It was wonderful. I went on to become a commodities broker at Shearson in Lancaster. I worked with the farmers and we hedged off crops. And later on I did have my own investment company, which was my dream in my life, Landis Investments. And I'm so honored today because Adele was one of my first clients. And and her friend Carolyn came down the weekend. And by the way, Carolyn's birthday is on Monday, so make sure you give Carolyn a special hug. And I couldn't believe how young she is after I got to know her. So money was never an issue. And last May, I began to take courses with Unity Institute. And Margaret was advising me. And so I started with prosperity. Thought that would be a natural fit. It would be a way to get my toe in the water and not, I didn't take the Bible courses. I thought I'll save that for later. But when I took this course, some things started to happen. And that's what I want to share with you today, and that's where Holy Money came from. It was the things that began to show up in my life based upon this very course. And it really rocked my boat. I got to tell you that. And I'll start with the first one. If I can operate it. There we go. Charles Fillmore, page 60 of Prosperity. We cannot be very happy if we are poor, and nobody needs to be poor. It is sin to be poor. When I read that, I got to be honest with you, I put the book down and said, I don't like the course, I don't like the book. This is the most negative. I thought I was getting into something positive here taking this course. But as I began to delve deeper into what Charles was talking about here, I think we all know, all been to Unity, we know what the word sin from the Greek is, miss the mark. So I said, okay, I've missed the mark, I'll accept that. But the piece about poor, when I began to understand what his definition of poor and poverty was, this is where it really rocked it. Because his belief, his definition, is any thought, feeling, or word of lack, limitation, or restriction. Any. Now that bar, I don't know for you, that bar was pretty high for me. Amen. Any. And so then he got a hold of me because I was like, okay, this is pretty intense to be able to accept that kind of level of consciousness, that kind of level of thinking and feeling. And then the next step took me to another new thought minister, Dr. Joseph Murphy, who even rocked my boat even more. He was a minister, if you're not familiar with him, one of the largest divine science churches in LA. He's a PhD in psychology. If you haven't read any of his books, I highly recommend it. But this guy will get right in your face. And not so nice sometimes. It's pretty in your face. And he said, there is no virtue in poverty. It is a disease like any other mental disease. And I had to put that book down too. I didn't feel like I had a mental disease. But as I began to understand what he was saying, and here's why this began to change for me. We now know that we're one consciousness, we're one energy, and that we only can fly as high in our consciousness as the lowest denominator in our lives. And when you think about money, money is usually the far extreme of the spectrum. Spirituality, let's say, is over here. Money is kind of the stuff of life. And where this really began to make an impact on me is that I realized I had completely compartmentalized my life. Money was here. My spirituality and my spiritual journey was over here, and never did the two meet. So I was a compartmentalized human being. I was not whole. And as I began to dive deeper and deeper into these teachings, what they were really saying, and what they say in many other places of it, is if you're willing to step up and deal with this money issue, everything else in your life will begin to rise. Because we're whole, and our consciousness is whole. But this is the one, and what's so interesting to me, and I'm not saying this to brag, but it's the truth. I have read every Charles, Myrtle, and Cora Fillmore's book. These folks were 100 years ahead of their time. Everything, I mean, you look at Hay House today, Hay House is, all those authors making multi-millions, it's all in the stuff Charles and Myrtle taught, and some of the other new thought folks. And now Eric Butterworth was the other textbook. And here's why I really admire him. 43 years as a minister in unity. 3 large churches across the country. You know, publicly stated, Dr. Maya Angelou says, this was my spiritual leader. Made impacts on thousands and thousands of people. But for 43 consecutive years, his churches never had a fundraiser. And he had them in the Midwest the whole way to New York City. And this, it just struck me, and here's the reason. When he was asked, why is that happening in my churches and with my people? There is little likelihood that your life can become fully functioning with prosperity unless you have a positive and creative attitude towards money. He approached his churches as a university of truth. And this is the number one thing that he said changed his congregation, is that they studied and they worked to get their attitudes and beliefs about money to a level that it just flowed. 43 years. I mean, you go back, I think he passed away in the middle of 2000s. 43 years takes you back to a whole lot of economic upheaval. And they never had to do a fundraiser. So when Eric Butterworth talks, you know that old saying, when E.F. let him talk, everybody listens. For me, when Eric Butterworth talks, he did it in the real world, and he did it across it wasn't social levels, it wasn't economic, it wasn't geographic, because he did it from the Midwest to New York City. And all 3 of these will talk that this is the basis of what their beliefs come from. When Jesus Christ said in John, I am come that they have life and they may have it more abundantly. It does not say any qualifier. More abundantly is all of our life. Our whole consciousness is to continue to grow and expand and become more and more abundant. And that was the basis that all 3 of these leaders talked about and lived, and we saw what really happened in their lives. So this is where really it got a hold of me, and I started, with Margaret's help, I did a 40-day spiritual journey. Meditated, prayed, and journaled for 40 consecutive days on this subject. And in that process, I was given the title Holy Money. And I told Jacqueline that morning, and she goes, I love it. I'm going, I can't use that name. She said, you need to get it trademarked. And I said, yeah, right now. Well, then I get an email a month and a half ago from a senior Unity minister that said, I love the name so much, you better get it trademarked. So from here on, I'm going to listen, Jacqueline. A little better what you advise.
Lesson number one.
Lesson number one. Work in progress. So, how do we begin to change beliefs and attitudes, if you want? Because that's the key. We got to make a conscious decision if we want to go from where we are today to change. Our attitudes come from our beliefs, and they lie in our subconscious. Now, everybody's seen this iceberg picture up here, I'm sure. And scientists argue day and night whether it's 5% or 12%. Let's just say conscious mind is little, subconscious big. I'm not sure what exactly the number is. But there's a mind that's missing here, and that's our third mind, and that's our superconscious. And for me, that's God. We call it the divine, love, oneness, whatever. But there's another mind that goes around these. But this is where we have to do the work. Charles Fillmore points to when Paul talked to the church in Thessalonians. He said, you have to work out your salvation. It's work. We have to work at it. And this is the part of the work, is to begin to change the beliefs that change our attitudes, that allow us to begin to live a different life at a different level. Now, Charles Fillmore knew about all this, but remember, he's writing from 100 years ago. I mean, it's pretty mind-boggling when you put in your mind, he said that quote was 1923 or 24. I mean, that was 5 or 6 years before the stock market crashed. I mean, it took a lot of guts, number one, but in the context of where the United States was and where we were historically, that he was able to have that impact and begin to understand what he was talking about. So, but what I've learned since then, since I sold my business, I became a certified life coach, and I did a lot of work with the mind and hypnotherapy and those kind of things. And there's some things that we now know about the mind that Charles didn't know. And one of those is to really understand about the conscious mind. The conscious mind, the best way I know to describe it, it's kind of like the British soldier at the gate of the castle, stands there and won't let anything else in. That's what our conscious mind is for. And it basically has a negative bent. It's cynical. Let me give you an example. I meet Charlene for the first time. And I say to Charlene, you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. I can see the look on her face is what she's thinking. Immediately our minds go to a place and say, or I say to David, you're the most intelligent man I've ever saw, the strongest. When we do that, our conscious mind says, wait a minute, there's a con going on here. There's a negative bent to the consciousness, the conscious mind. And it's important to know when we go to begin to make changes, because we have to work through that piece of the conscious mind. The other thing about the conscious mind, we now know that it works really, really hard to maintain status quo. Any of you ever said to yourself, I don't know why I sabotage myself? Ever happened to you all? Never? Okay. Happens to me a lot. But this is the way the conscious mind's created, to protect the safety of continuing the line that you're in. So these things are really, really important to know. Because as you begin to make the positive changes that you want to make, we have to deal with what's going on with the conscious mind. We've been created this way, and we have to work with it. Now, there's some things that Charles didn't know, too, that we now know about the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not recognize negation. No, don't. How do I know? Close your eyes for a second. Do not think of grape chocolate. Your mind has to go to the chocolate. So I'm going to show you where I have a little issue with some of the things that Charles taught the best that he knew then, but we're seeing things begin to move. The next two are really, really important. self-deprecating humor, or sarcasm. Your subconscious mind does not recognize the difference. Let me give you an example of the way it is. A guy's watching TV, the comedian's on there, he's just cracking him up, he's slapping his knee, he turns to his 5-year-old son and says, "That man's just killing me." And the 5-year-old son says, "Daddy, why? Why is he upset with you? Why does he want to kill you?" That's what our subconscious mind's doing. Anytime you use sarcasm or use self-deprecating humor, it immediately goes into your subconscious and it becomes part of your belief system. So as you begin to catch yourself, just say, delete that. Let it go. I'm not doing that anymore. Because you will find, as you begin to break some of these habits, these are nothing but habits that have been built from child up. And I hear time and time again in my life coaching, well, that's how my mom was. Well, how was it working for mom? Well, it didn't work so well. Guess what happened? We also now know about brain phases and the waves. And there's a whole lot more than this now. We go into gamma and lambda, and there's waves that go way beyond these four. But the reason I want to just show these, and we're going to do some work on this on Saturday at the workshop, but one of the reasons that this really intrigues me is that from, you know, when a baby's born, what do they do almost all day long? They sleep. Right? So they cry too. They cry themselves to sleep when they're worn out. But what happens is from in the womb till about 2 years old, our babies are at basically delta level, which is almost in a coma. As a hypnotherapist, if I can take someone to delta level, I can have miraculous healings instantly. There's so much power at that level of our minds. It's not that easy to get to. But from 0 to, in the womb, not 0, in the womb to 2, all our babies, including us, were basically at the delta level. Absolutely no filter. Everything you thought, you heard, you felt, your mother felt, your father felt, goes right into your subconscious. And it becomes your belief, and that's your attitude. I've worked with people who, in their home, their parents had a plaque that said, "There is more month at the end of the month." Every day of that child's life. That was driven deeper and deeper into the subconscious. And we all have had this. I had a father who was a bishop. He preached all the time about it. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than a rich man to get to heaven. I said, well, you know, I'm a little kid. I said, I want to go to heaven. And you know how hard it is for a camel to get through the eye of the needle? Well, when I finally in 2000 got to Israel and found out what the eye of the needle was, it cleared it all up for me. But it was not a truth. But in my mind, it was my belief, and that belief became my attitude. Okay? From 2 to 6, our children are basically at the next level, theta. No filter, taking everything in. When you think about the negation, we talked about the subconscious. What do we say to most kids? Don't slam the door. What do they do? Slam the door. We wired their subconscious. Slam the door. So they're not doing anything wrong. They're just following the way they've been designed to be created. From 6 to 12, basically, the alpha level, and above 12, we begin to function and have filters and make conscious decisions and say, I don't want that in my life. So when people say to me, and the people that I coach around, especially money seems to really bring up, those issues get deep into the subconscious for those very reasons. I love this quote of Buddha. We are what we think, and that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we make the world. So and all the great teachers, Jesus, Buddha, and bunches of them today, are always taking us back to how important the thoughts are. But that's only the beginning. That's the beginning of the process that we now know, and how to begin to change our beliefs and our attitudes around money or anything else that we want to change. Charles and Eric, in the basic unity teachings that we know is, first step is denial, is to begin to release the old. An interesting statistic everyone knows about The Secret, 12 million copies were sold. And when they went back 5 years later and did the research, they figured less than 1% of people had made transformation in their lives, they said. Less than 1. Now that's not a knock on The Secret, because The Secret did amazing things. 12 million souls on this planet began to look at other possibilities. But there was parts that were missing in The Secret, and one of the things that was missing is the step of denial. Now here's where I have a little bit of an issue, and on Saturday we're going to work on going from denials to what I call release. The reason is, again, going back to the negation of the subconscious. You know, a denial that Charles would use is sickness has no power over me, or poverty has no power over me. Well, you're really wiring that in with the negation that sickness does have power. And so what I've moved to for me, and what I teach and what I'll use on Saturday, is a release. When we tell our subconscious we want to release or rebuke or remove or whatever, is much more powerful. Now, for me, I had to figure out why Charles and Myrtle were so successful, even overriding the subconscious. And here's my theory. They spent 2 to 4 hours a day. 3 chairs, Charles, Myrtle, and in the middle was Jesus Christ. Now, I don't know about you all, but if you got 4 hours every day, you can probably override the negation. But I don't have that much time, and most people today don't. So that's one of the reasons why I talk about an enhancement to it. If we move from the negation, things will start to happen much faster. The other part that I teach on this on Saturday is that we now know that we have intelligence in our entire body. We hold things in our body, so we need to release it, not only from the subconscious mind, but we have to release it from the body. And I've worked to put together a process, a very simple process, using NLP, an emotional freedom technique, and allows you then to release these old beliefs from the body. Affirmations. We all know about those, have been around forever. Here's the problem I have for affirmations. If you really want to go for a big one, let me give you one from me. I am a billionaire. I can tell you right now what just happened in my subconscious mind. It's a chair, right? You got a bill on Monday, Jack. You got to pay. You're missing some zeros when you count. And what happens is you keep running affirmations like that, and you're having this negative, what we call echo, in the subconscious. That has more power. The yeah, right, has more power than I am a billionaire. And you can actually, affirmations can create more problems. If you're driving the echo, if you're driving the negativity back into the subconscious, that just builds the belief system higher. About 10 years ago, a gentleman named Noah St. John, he was broke at 34, just divorced, grew up in community, knew all this. He did denials, he did affirmations. His life was a wreck. Total wreck. He said, he went back to school to try to get a job so he could, I think it was something in divinity. And he said, I was in a dorm room that I couldn't even open up my arm to hit the walls. While he was in the shower, I think it was around 2004, 2006, a message came to him in the shower. It says, turn your affirmations to afformations. And I began to use this when I learned it about 3-4 months ago. And it changes everything. And it's exactly the way the mind works. Noah St. John has gone on to be a multimillionaire. He's teaching all over the world to corporations affirmations. And we're going to work on those on Saturday. In fact, you can use mine if you want, or you can design your own. But here's the change. Instead of making a statement of, I am a billionaire, get it right, you change it into, why does it feel so good for me to be a billionaire? You feel the energy shift? That's what happens in my mind, because my mind doesn't fight it now. The mind's like a little kid. So, why feel good? And it starts looking for everything in my subconscious to support why it feels so good for me to be divinely healthy. Very powerful in the change. something else that has happened that Charles, now, he was on the cusp of it. He wrote a book called The Atom Smashing Power of the Mind. If you haven't read it, it's worth the read. This guy was so far ahead of what was happening at the time. But he was already seeing what was coming with quantum physics and understanding that we are all energy. I'm energy, the post is energy, you're energy. And where this changes, and you can't read this on the screen, it's got some funny word spell because it came from New Zealand. But what I love about what's on this screen is that on the very far right, you can't read it, when they now measure the energy and the power coming out of the brain, the heart, the basic energy out of the heart is 100 times more powerful than what comes out of the mind. But here's the magic. When they measure the magnetic energy, which is how you attract, and coming out of the heart is 5,000 times more powerful than what's in the brain. So when we were doing a meditation this morning and you were stating, I am divine help from your heart space, it's 5,000 times more powerful than just repeating it when you're in the conscious mind. 5,000 times. You think that won't speed up where you're headed? I think so. I think it really does. This is to me, one of the greatest spiritual teachers of America, Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein says, it's hard to read, everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics.
Yes.
This is physics. Physics is a science that never fails. It always delivers what it will. And in physics, we know now we're all energy, and like attracts like. So what's important is thoughts are important, the feelings are important, the emotions are important, what we say is important, but how our vibrational frequency is now what we know is how we attract. Those of you who choose to come on Saturday, I have a device that I use to show you how magnificently splendid you are and how powerful you are, because I can measure the difference right here live in the vibrational frequency when you take on different thoughts. You'll see it. It's amazing. So Charles was headed there, but this is the piece that I think has been missing. And when you begin to apply it, it doesn't matter whether it's just money, it's whatever you want to bring into your life to take it to the next level. This is one of the keys. So I took some liberty today. And Dan Landis came up with his own quote. I took Eric Butterworth's, there is little likelihood that your life can become fully functioning with prosperity unless you have a positive and creative vibrational frequency towards money, towards health, towards relationships, towards God, towards whatever you want to put in place of money. But we attract at what, you all probably heard of Abraham and Esther Hicks and the whole law of attraction. What he calls it is the vortex. Vortex kind of like a pyramid around you. It's that vibrational frequency. And there's a lot of people working now to study it from 0 to 200. They can measure it. The key is you got to be 101 to at least be on the positive side. And you can actually begin, and we'll do a little bit of work on this on Saturday, of how to know where you are in your vibrational frequency, not only to money, but to your life. And this is the next technology, the next quantum leap that I think we're going to see is starting to develop all around the world, where people are starting to understand that we have to change our frequency, our vibration. This is my little commercial for Saturday. It's 4 segments from 1 to 5. The first one we'll spend the most time on is releasing the old money beliefs, and it also works for any other old beliefs you want to get rid of. And we'll not only release it out of the subconscious, but we're going to release it out of the body. It must leave the body. We install new vibrational frequency affirmations. And then this is what's kind of unique, is this is where my practical side comes in. one of the greatest gifts you can ever give yourself. Jacqueline and I are in a place right now where we've worked really hard to become debt-free. It's the greatest gift you can give yourself. Debt in 2014 is the new slavery. And this country and this nation and this world is in debt. And it's the slavery that you got to send it. Look, all you got to do is look to the big cities, right? What do you see? Big glass buildings. Who owns them? Not me. Not you. It's the banks. It's the investment companies. It's the debt. That's how they got big glass buildings. So going debt-free, we're going to do a process on Saturday. You're going to do your own. You may not finish the math, but you will leave Saturday knowing what month, what year you'll be debt-free. And if you work the plan, it will happen to you. I've had it happen for lots of people that I've worked with. And then the last one is I take 40-some years on Wall Street, and I'll teach you the secrets on Wall Street. How to make your money make money. And there is definitely a secret. It's big business. They know what they're doing. I'm going to put you in alignment with what they're doing, and you'll be in a place that you'll be able to have the money work for you. It's been an incredible honor for me today to be here. And I thank you for your time. And one last thing I was going to say. I'm sorry, Susan. This being our home church, and I know we stated $30. If that's an issue, I want everyone who wants to be there Saturday to be there. And if it's an issue, whatever, see Charlene or Reverend Margaret or Jacqueline or myself. Because I don't have to travel to do this. So anyone who wants to be there, see us. I would love to have you. If $30 is an issue, I don't want you to miss it because I'll give you a money back guarantee. You're going to leave Saturday different. Thank you.
Well, holy moly. I think holy money sounds like a fantastic gift. How many of you are willing to be abundant and debt-free? The higher your hand, the better it is. Thank you, Dan. You've given all of us so much to ponder, and you've given us many wake-ups as well. And I just regret that I have to wait until Saturday for the workshop. But I hope to see lots of you here. Thank you, thank you. And now, Dan's talk is a perfect intro, isn't it, to the next part of our service, where we have the opportunity to share from our hearts what is ours to give. And let's really bless our offerings. I invite you, we have a mudra along with the affirmation. I invite you as you raise your hand to feel that you are indeed the light. When we raise our hands, we are inviting the light into our beings. Feel that light coming into your heart. And let us say this together from our hearts. I am light, flowing through me, blessing these gifts to radiate peace. And so it is.
No matter what age, no matter how I look, there's beauty in each stage. I am a gift, and I promise every day, when I look in the mirror, while. So I make this vow, and I say it with love. I am perfect and whole and enough, and I am a gift. I am a gift. There may be times when I forget the truth about me, when it seems time and youth are just marching on without me. That's when I might need to find me and ever so gently remind me that I am a gift, a precious child, put here on this earth, but only for a while. So I make this vow, and I say it with love. I am perfect and whole and enough. I am a gift. I am a gift. I am a gift. I am a gift. I am a gift.
Thank you so very, very much. And it's also very important for us to be grateful, going back to the children's message, of what a gift has been given us, that we are able to be here now in this beautiful place, in these beautiful bodies. So it's always the gift, the accepting, the giving, and receiving, which we do so very, very gratefully now with our affirmation together. I am light, flowing through me, blessing these gifts to radiate peace. And so it is. The Prosperity Plus program here will begin on February 11th. You see the time, 5:45 to 7:15. More information downstairs. Prosperity Plus reception, for those of you who have already taken the class or are pondering taking it, on February 7th from 5:30 to 7:30. RSVP please by Monday, February 3rd. In the spirit of recycling, if any of you who have taken the course have a used Prosperity Plus program that you would like to donate, give, or loan to someone signing up for it this year, you may let Reverend Margaret know. Course in Miracles, every Thursday from 6:30 to 8. Unity Store for the Miracle-Minded has all kinds of wonderful gifts and, of course, books. There will be oneness blessing immediately after the service in the prayer chapel. Well, perhaps 5 minutes after. Now, I invite us to stand and form our circle of light, love, light, and laughter. And as we are hand in hand and heart to heart. I invite you to look at the screen, and we're going to say together our prayer for protection. If people could move further down here, there would be more room and people wouldn't be so squeezed. I don't know what to do about over there. But it's wonderful that we have such a good crowd. The prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we, of course, direct that to all human beings all over the world. And now we're going to sing, Yes, There Is Peace on Earth.
Thank you.